Hey guys, so this video is going to be a little bit different because we have come to that point in the year yet again where my laptop says screw you and it doesn't really want to work and it wants to lag every time I try to edit. So I guess you could say, because it is a little bit of an older laptop, that the only dinosaur in this review is my laptop. Am I right? I'm so much funnier when I can edit things. Seriously, so much funnier when I can edit things. Is it quiet in here? It feels like it's quiet in here. Anyway, so welcome back to the channel, guys. Today our movie in the middle is Jurassic World Rebirth. Jurassic World Rebirth follows a covert group traveling to a banned island to extract blood from 3 types of dinosaurs which they believe will lead to a cure for heart disease. It stars Scarlett Johansson, Jonathan Bailey, Mahershala Ali, Rupert Friend, and Manuel Garcia-Rulfo. Yes, I'm reading off of notes. This is what I do. You're getting all the behind the scenes, okay? But yeah, we're just gonna raw dog this one. So Jurassic World Dominion came out a couple years ago, and to the relief of all, we thought that was it for the Jurassic Park franchise. Because we were like, come on, we got to stop this. It's going too big and it's stupid, and you built all this up, and then it was a kind of a dumb movie, and tried to do that legacy thing, and it was fine, but none of them have been like. I don't think anything in the Jurassic Park franchise is like horrible. Just some of them are more disappointing than others, and they're never ever going to compare to the original. And when they said that they were still doing more, I, like everybody else, was like, dear God, just let it die, please. And they just weren't going to. And I saw the stills for it, and I was like, God, of course it's Scarlett Johansson. Like, what is it? She's like the Tom Holland, of like actresses. It's like, can you please just somebody else, something? And then I was hearing more about it, and people were like, you know what? It's pretty good. It's not the original by any means, but it's pretty good. So I actually didn't have a lot of expectation going into this, but I was pretty excited to see what they were going to have. And honestly, I'm kind of in that camp. It was pretty good. So, starting off with the highs. So stupid. Starting off with the highs. So I love the premise of this one, actually. I thought it was a very good, like, compelling reason to go, and it kind of reminds me of like Jurassic Park 3. Like, they had an actual reason to go to this island, and it wasn't just like, hey, we're going to play around with some dinosaurs. It was like, we have an actual compelling scientific reason that could save people. And when you have a premise like that, you automatically score points with the audience, because it's like, okay, yeah, go. That's a good reason to put yourself into this danger. And so, I don't know, I liked that. But aside from the actual reason to go, I thought the premise was good because it kind of got us back to before all the Jurassic Worlds started, to that Lost World and Jurassic Park 3, where it's the more secluded island, and they're on the island or in jungle by themselves, and they're in this, in danger. It's a lot more isolated and quiet and scary, and honestly, just reminded me that this is a horror franchise. I mean, it's adventure and it's sci-fi, but it is also a horror franchise, and we haven't been getting that for a while. So I actually felt like this one had a little bit more, I don't want to say depth, but a little bit more of that oomph that the original Jurassic Parks had that the newer ones just don't. So I liked that a lot. And in regards to specifically the premise, and what goes into that is mostly characters. And I actually liked a lot of the characters in this. It's one of those that after a while you'll come out of it and be like, all right, yeah, none of them, they weren't like superbly memorable or anything, but I actually liked a lot of the characters in this, and I appreciated that they at least have an attempt here to flesh out characters, give them emotional backgrounds, or really good emotional conversations and dialogue. I don't know, it was a really fun watch with a lot of these characters that I thought they're going to be annoying, or they're going to get in the way, or they're just going to look really bland, but for the most part I thought they did a pretty good job. I think there could have been a little bit more fleshed out, but I'll talk about that in a minute. But generally, I did like the characters in this one. Scarlett Johansson, I would say, she's good. She's kind of more of the placeholder for just like the lead. She's the main character, the kind of person who's like, all right, let's keep going, come on. And it's like, all right, what else do you have? And she has one thing that has to do with like PTSD, And again, I'll talk about that in a minute where that kind of goes. But it seems like most of the characters they're fun. They got some good qualities, some good quirks. They're nothing superbly memorable, but they were good enough to get through the movie. Yeah, obviously, in terms of characters, the dinosaurs are great in this one. There's some new ones, there's some new experimental ones, which we've been having a lot of those in the last couple ones, but it's kind of different. Like, the entire point for a lot of these is that they were leftover experiments that no one wants to see, so they're sort of abominations, some of them. And that leads to some really interesting, dinosaur creations and designs. But what I really liked about this one is that there are actually good dinosaur scares and scenes and conflicts and action pieces where it's like, yeah, there are legitimate reasons for you to be in this situation or trying to get this while sneaking past the dinosaur, whatever it might be. They had actual reasons for doing that and creating these kind of terrifying sequences, some of them, with really interesting, cool dinosaurs. And obviously, there is a T-Rex scene. We have to have that. That's a staple at this point. And in this one, it didn't seem like it was just shoehorned in. It feels like, yeah, there was a reason for this T-Rex. It was just happened to be there, and we're going to have that really cool scene with it that basically we have in every one of these movies. But I thought the dinosaurs were pretty cool. And again, reminded me, this is a horror franchise. We're supposed to be scared of these things. And, and going along with that, the CGI. The CGI was really good. Not once did I even question it. That I think was just like an automatic high for this one, because I didn't even think about it the whole time. I was just like, you know what? Yeah, they look pretty freaking good. I actually like a lot of the visuals in this movie. There's some really beautiful shots, as well as what is probably my first middle, which is that there's a lot of callbacks to earlier movies, especially the original. And for me, I actually didn't mind it because a lot of them didn't feel like, very on-the-nose Easter eggs or stare into the camera fan service. It's very homage to the originals, or there's moments where it's like, oh yeah, I remember that from when they did it before. But it feels organic. It feels like, no, there's a reason that this is happening. It didn't really feel to me like they went, there's this cool thing that we like from the originals, let's do it in this one. It was more so just like, oh, hey, that worked here, and it also would make sense here, So it's like, yeah, there's some of that stuff, but it led to some really beautiful moments, and honestly, kind of recapturing a little bit the magic of the first and the wonder and kind of the reason we're here, to talk about animals and dinosaurs and see the beauty of them while also seeing the horror. So that was pretty cool. There was a lot of trying to recapture that from the original, which obviously will never fully happen, but for the most part, I think they did a good job at, 6 movies later. It's pretty fun. Still got some wonder in there and some very heartfelt moments with these animals, especially from Jonathan Bailey, who I didn't talk about him, but Jonathan Bailey kind of plays against type from what I've seen, and he's sort of more of a nerd in this one, and I loved him. I loved his character and his whole thing about being a dinosaur expert, really wanted to see them in the field and protecting them. All that was great. Again, characters were pretty good. And my other middle was the themes. I mean, again, I appreciate in this one that they have at least an attempt on some deeper themes. They weren't super deep or revolutionary or anything like that. It's more so, honestly, where the first one has a lot of themes about control and lack of control and, trying to scientific advancements and should you even do these things. This one, the themes are like, hey, billionaires are bad, right? And it's like, yeah. No, yeah, we got that. The themes are like, hey, we should help other people with medicine. And it's like, yeah, I got that. But I appreciate that they at least had some of that in here. It doesn't go fully into a too deep territory where they could have done probably some more with it, but it was fine. It was serviceable for what it needed to be. And in terms of my lows, yeah, I appreciate the character stuff. I feel like about halfway through, there were just a lot of characters who either didn't really do anything after in the second half, or if they had any sort of depth, it wasn't talked about again, and it sucked because again, Scarlett Johansson had this whole PTSD thing. There's other characters who have things going on with them, and there's a lot of really great conversations in the beginning half But it's like, as the action kind of takes over, there's less and less of that. And I kind of wish that we had some more with them, just kind of fleshing that out, seeing those through so they really felt like real people, and those came back at the end. Those relationships, too. Because there's some developing ones as well. Especially with this other family that they pick up. And, again, something else that I didn't really mind. I actually thought that they were going to be interlopers, or I was going to hate their subplot. But I actually liked them a good amount, and even they have really good relationships that are developed, and I wish that they had done more, because those mainly are the ones who, when they get to the second half, one of the four of them has a moment where she actually helps the plot. She's actually able to do something with the action. The rest of them feel like they're just kind of tagging along. They're just kind of there, kind of escaping. And I would just wish that they were able to do more. So, just following through with the characters, whether that's in action and purpose or their actual backstories and, what makes them a little bit more unique. Just following through with that. The action sort of took over there a little bit. And finally, and this one is, I gotta be super vague with this, unfortunately, but I feel like I wanted some different fates for the endings of a lot of these characters. Obviously, I cannot be more specific than that, and you understand why, because it's in terms of, just like Jurassic Park. So many people die, so I don't want to give anything away about that. In terms of that, though, I just wish some things were different. I wanted some more and some less of stuff. Very vague. Unfortunately, I can't tell you why. If you want to know, comment below, and I can put it in the replies and then kind of hide it so people don't see it. But if you want to know, let me know, and I can put it down there what I would have wanted to see more of. So overall, Jurassic World was a perfectly serviceable Jurassic Park movie. And honestly, I went to see this with my mom, and she said, okay, I really hope they're done after this. And I was like, honestly, I'd be fine, because it didn't seem like this one was trying to be like, hey, okay, we're done. It was just another one. And I was cool with that. And if they can come up with some more topics, storylines, whatever it might be, that feel like a good one-off, go see the dinosaurs, escape from the dinosaurs, this is the reason we need to be here, be done with it, not this whole huge blockbuster thing and world-ending thing. If they can come up with some more of those very small, grounded stories, I'm cool with seeing some more. But it has to be warranted, it has to be worth it. So I'd be okay with that, because honestly, that's what I'm here for at this point. I know it's not going to be the original Jurassic Park, but if you can get me secluded in a jungle, or maybe in a city, or whatever it might be, where you feel like you're running from these things, and you're deep in the environment and seeing the wonder of the creatures, that's all I need, honestly, at this point. So if they do more, and I know they will, because why wouldn't they, of course? I don't know. If it's warranted, I'd be totally fine with it. So Jurassic World Rebirth is a very serviceable Jurassic Park movie. It's totally cool. That didn't blow my mind or anything, but it was gory. It had some cool action, and we'll see if they do some more. I'm going to give Jurassic World Rebirth a 3 out of 4. Well, guys, let me know what you thought of Jurassic World Rebirth. Where does it rank among all the others? I'm going to do an official ranking at some point, probably on Instagram, but I'm still deciding where this one is, because there's a couple right in the middle that kind of go in any place. Obviously the ones at the bottom, the top, I know those, but it's right in the middle that's kind of hard. So, as always, keep your hopes high, your stress low, a movie's right in the middle, and I'll see you guys later.